Hey y'all! So today we are talking about power skills again in the fourth video in our series. Today specifically is about networking. But before we get started, I want to do a quick recap for you about what power skills is in case you missed the introduction video. If you did, I recommend going back to see that because it gives a much better overview. But basically, a power skill is a soft skill, right? It is a skill that you need in any job. So it is a career attribute or skill that is necessary for work. It enables people to navigate their work environment, work well with others, perform well, and achieve their goals. This is different than hard skills, which are particular to any type of industry. So a soft skill is communication because it can be used anywhere, but a hard skill is, for instance, knowledge of medicine in the medical field, or knowledge of a particular trade, right? Being able to weld is a hard skill because you can only use it in welding in the trades. So power skills are the most important because they are transferable and because every good employee needs them, no matter what field they are in, right? It helps you to adapt. And if you change career fields, you're still going to use these no matter where you go. So let's get down to it. Today is networking. Networking is defined as the action or process of interacting with others to exchange information and develop professional or social connections and contacts. So this is directly related to communication because the most common way that networking happens is by just talking to people. Or for instance, if you don't have a LinkedIn account, but you've heard of LinkedIn, this is what people use to connect on LinkedIn. But I also use Facebook sometimes to keep up with my professional connections. So keeping in mind that communication can happen through various mechanisms. That is the key to networking. So right off the bat, I'd say networking is most commonly thought of as something that you do if you're in sales, because the more people you know, the more customers you have, right? Or if you are a private business owner and again, you want to get more customers. But what's important and cool, again, just like communication, what's important about networking is that it can be a part of your career in so many ways. So think of your network, first of all, it's a system, right? It's your support system of people that you know. And the more people that you know, the more people you can potentially collaborate with. And this could help you to find more job opportunities by making these connections and getting exposed to a larger group of people. Sometimes people say that if you're really great at networking, you will never have to interview for a job again because people just know you and they're like, yeah, hey, come in, let's talk about this job. It's not as formal or as strict of an interview process as normal because people know you and they know your reputation, which is also kind of transferred through your networking skills and experiences. So networking helps you to be a better employee as well because you will have relationships that you can suggest as resources and partnerships within whatever your job and organization already is. And so through both of those aspects, being a better employee or finding new job opportunities, this can help you to just ultimately advance your career, potentially through a promotion, a new job, a new business partnership, whatever it may be. So, as you'll remember, we love to talk about the ways that power skills are interrelated and the way that they work together. So some soft skills that are also related to networking, as we already said, communication is so key. In addition, there are many others. So continuous learning, for one, because you're always meeting new people and expanding your horizons and probably learning different ways to have conversations and different ways to make connections, right? So you can go to events, you can connect with people online, you can join groups specifically intended to meet new people or new professionals. Just many different ways that you can learn and continue to learn about your job field or about other job fields that, again, will help you to think of those partnerships that you can make within your network. You will also use flexibility because we're having conversations. These are happening live, right? You never know what someone's going to say. So you're going to sometimes have to be able to think on your toes, which sounds a lot scarier, I think, than normal conversations sound. I think when we call it networking, it automatically sounds a lot scarier, but ultimately it's just talking to people and often meeting new people, which I think is the scariest part for some people. And so that brings me to determination and also social emotional intelligence. So depending on your personality, again, it might be scary. You might be nervous to meet new people. You might not like to talk about yourself. So these are all things that you have to be determined to get through and get over and improve at, as well as having the skill to read people's emotions and their body language and other nonverbal cues so that you can help to guide that conversation and build that relationship in a better way based on the way that their emotions and their nonverbal cues are coming off during a conversation. You can tell just by looking at someone if they like something or don't like it, even if they don't say that. So networking is really cool because it happens in everyday life, and there are so many opportunities to practice it. For instance, you can say something conversational to a cashier or just someone that you are passing in the store. You know, you're both looking at the same item and you say, oh, like, I love that color. It would look great on you. And then you might start up a conversation. Or if you're talking to a cashier and you just say, the weather's really beautiful. Are you doing anything fun this weekend? And oftentimes, especially when you're talking to people who are in the service industry, people who are working the register and the cashier, that's a great way to practice your networking because you have a captive audience, right? They kind of have to be there running the register. And they often don't expect that kind of engagement and that kindness from customers as well, that customers will take the time to actually have a conversation and build a relationship with their cashier as opposed to just, handing off the money and going by. And it doesn't mean that when you go to practice networking that you are really intending to build that cashier as part of your network. But if it's a store that you go to very often, it might be helpful to one day know someone and see a familiar face every time you go into that store. Other ways you can practice include confidently introducing yourself to someone new. You just say, hi, you reach out your hand. I'm Emily. Nice to meet you. And I think in that, a very common phrase that people will use when you're doing something that you are practicing and you might not actually be as confident in as you would like to be, right? Confidence is key, A. B, fake it till you make it. So if you're not feeling super confident, just kind of pretend for a minute that you really are, stick out your hand, make sure your hand is ready for that firm handshake, and then the more you practice and the more you realize that you can do it, the more confidence that you will really build within yourself because you will know that you can do it. Also, confidently making conversation with anyone. As I said, with the example in the store, with the cashier or a customer, when you're waiting in line with someone, definitely a great captive time to strike up that conversation. Other ways to practice, recognizing and planning who you want to make a connection with, that would be helpful for your career. So if you know that you are currently in an entry-level position at this company, let's call the company Bananas. I was going to say Apple, but Apple is already a company name. You're at a company called Bananas and you're in an entry-level position and you're applying for a higher level position at this company called Oranges. If you purposely go out and seek connections with people at the company called Oranges, you may be more likely to get the job simply just through being at your interview and saying, I was speaking to so-and-so in this department and I learned this, because it shows that you're invested in that company. So that's one way that you can kind of strategically network. And the other thing that I will suggest is called elevator pitch. So an elevator pitch is a very short speech, if you will, that you've already prepared, up to 30 seconds. And what it means is you could say this to someone quickly if you were in an elevator with them. So practice your personal elevator pitch by describing yourself or talking about your mission, the thing that you stand for, the thing that you want to do with your life. Or if you don't want to do those things, you could practice talking about your company's mission. One other really great use of networking can be just to get the name out there for the company that you work at, because, again, building partnerships for your company will elevate your role in that company and help you to get better positions and be looked on more favorably. So you can just practice if you don't want to put yourself out there by making your own personal mission statement. You can practice with the mission statement of your company, going up to people and saying, hey, I work for Boys and Girls Clubs. We really, really are committed to doing whatever it takes to make sure that our youth are academically enriched, that they have fun and are safe. And in my program, CareerWorks, we like to help students to figure out what they want to do after high school by exposing them to post-secondary options, both college and other types of training programs. See, that was a quick elevator pitch. So you can share that with anyone, anytime you meet them, anytime somebody says, so what do you do? Or like, hey, tell me about yourself. It's good practice because you can also use that in an interview setting. So I hope that gave you a little bit of background on networking, how you can do it, what it's for, and how you can practice. And I hope that you watch some other videos in our series so that you can learn more about different types of power skills.